What is up, everyone? Welcome to season 2 of the Fun with Friends podcast. I'm your host, Allie. I hope you are all doing well and you're staying safe. Joining me on today's episode is Sahara Rose De Vore, and she is the founder of the Travel Coach Network. I'm so very excited to have you on today's episode, and thank you so much for joining me today.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
So Sahara and we met through a mutual friend, Carly, who has been on the podcast before. She actually sent me one of the events that you did back in, I think it was April, maybe. It was the Women Thrive Through Travel Mastermind event.
Yep.
And it sounded like something that I would be super interested in. And Carly and I had previously talked about travel. So I popped in there and attended your event, and I left it and I was like, oh my God, I need to talk to every single person in this event, starting with Sahara, because it was just, I don't know, my mind was kind of blown because of everything we talked about with travel and the different guests that you had and their travel experiences. And I was just like, I must know more. I must meet these people. And so we kind of started chatting a little bit after that. And now you are a guest on the podcast, which is so exciting.
Yeah, it was so nice to have you reach out. I was so glad that you were able to attend the event. It was the first Women Thrive Through Travel Mastermind event that I held, and virtually, which ended up working out well because it was during COVID, because I knew that there was a whole world of women out there who I knew and who I didn't know quite yet that needed the support, needed that confidence booster when it comes to travel, and also just people who really were kind of down and out because it was uncertain about travel at the time. And also a lot of people who have travel related businesses needed a lot of answers and direction and clarity or pivoting ideas, and also a lot of time to work on their mindsets and collaborations. So that's kind of why I put it all together. But it was so nice to have you join, and I'm so glad that you really enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was a ton of information too. And when it was over and I left, I was like, oh man. I was like, this is a whole world that I need to kind of explore and get into. And also just like the vibes, I guess. Like, even though it was virtual, I was like, oh, these are all like-minded women that are like interested in travel. There were people tuning in or calling in from across the world. And so that was really cool. And I don't know, it was just a really awesome experience. So I'm glad that we managed to link up.
The majority of the speakers are members of my travel coach program or members of my travel coach network. And so I just knew that they were people that I wanted to put in front of others to meet and learn from, because they all had so many different things to talk about, whether it had to do with social media or, your mindset and empowerment, or things like travel hacking. Just so many great vibes that we had from so many different people. So, and yes, they were all around the world. So it was really exciting to have. I think I had over 130 registrants, and then I had afterwards about 300 people reach out for the replay. Yeah, so it was really exciting, and I can't wait to do it again one day.
As I mentioned, you're the founder of the Travel Coach Network, and I know personally, I had never heard of a travel coach before. And then when I attended an event that you put on, you mentioned it, and I was like, what is a travel coach? Because when I think of traveling and like getting assistance with travel or anything like that, I think of like a travel agent or a booking agent or something along those lines, and had literally never heard the term travel coach before. I don't know if that's just me, but I was instantly kind of like, tell me more about this. So could you kind of explain a little bit about what a travel coach is, and then also share a little bit about yourself and how you kind of found your way into founding the Travel Coach Network?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for asking. I know you're not the only one. And it's actually quite common for people to ask, what is a travel coach? It's quite intriguing. I'd never heard of it before, they say to me, and they didn't know that it existed. And that's exactly how I felt when I stumbled upon my career as a travel coach. So essentially travel coaches are very unique in the sense that everything that a travel coach teaches or helps someone with is very specific to their own area of expertise, their own experiences. So for instance, what I mean by this is, let's say that for instance, for myself, I come from a budgeting backpacker background and a solo female traveler. So I started helping other women figure out how they can, enjoy their travels or maximize their travels. That was going to help them find the answers that they're looking for in life, whether like what they're passionate about, or something that makes them feel fulfilled, have more meaningful experiences. I talked about budgeting, creating budgets, and how to stick on that. But the difference is between a travel coach and a travel agent primarily is that a travel agent has the control. As for when you work with a travel coach, the client is the one in control. And what I mean by that is a travel coach's duty is to provide empowerment, support, guidance, and help versus taking control over the situation, creating itineraries, telling people what to do, doing their bookings for them. It's a completely different service. As for a travel coach, why someone would come to them is because they're looking to figure out, okay, I see on Instagram all these amazing lifestyles and travels and trips that people are going on, and I feel like that's just not doable for someone like myself. When in reality it is. Despite what Instagram gives you as a perspective, anyone can travel on their own terms, however it is that they want to travel. So sometimes you want to make one time a year a fabulous trip, but you're not breaking the bank. Maybe someone wants more travel into their lifestyle, so therefore they have to figure out more about their budgeting, or maybe someone wants to incorporate more into their relationships that they have. I need to go on a trip because I need to heal myself in some way. When you think about travel, people travel for a wide variety of reasons, and it's far deeper than just sitting on a beach sipping a pina colada, which is, quite enticing, and it is something that a lot of us do. But when you ask someone why they really do travel, it's more likely because, well, I had a death in the family, or I went through a terrible breakup, or I was just feeling like unfulfilled in my career, in my life at the moment. I needed to get away. How many of times that you've probably thought of that yourself? Like, I just need to get away somewhere. But when you ask yourself, and this is one of the responsibilities of a travel coach, is to pull those answers from within of the client and say, what is causing you to this urge to get away? Why is it travel you want to do versus anything else that you have going through your head? And therefore, when you can figure out these reasons why you want to travel, then the power goes into the hands of the client saying, okay, now I know why I want to get away. So now I can figure out, where do I need to go? Who do I need to go with? What kind of things do I need to do? What kind of experiences do I need to have in order to have an outcome or transformation that I'm really looking for? So when I come back to my daily life, or I can make the changes in my life that no longer make me feel like I need to keep getting away or filling in the rut that made me want to get away in the first place, that healed me or transformed me in some way, they can make all these decisions on their own. So the travel coach gives them that empowerment, those tools, those resources, that guidance, and that support to be able to do that.
Yeah, so you're so it's kind of like a bit of you're kind of like a travel therapist a little bit.
Essentially, without all the legal requirements. Yeah. And I mean, that's what a coach does in general. A coach, when you hire like a life coach or a business coach is not going to build your business for you. They're there to help you, guide you, support you, provide you with resources, make you think deeper, make you challenge yourself. Think of a life coach, they're going to pull out of you, why are you feeling this way? What's causing you to feel this way? Where are these mental blocks? And so a travel coach is pretty much a combination of all of these, essentially, because if a travel coach wants to specialize in helping people have more travel-related businesses or grow a business like I do, then, that's their specialty. It could be a parent that travels with little kids that other parents turn to and say, how are you doing this? Or why is it important for me to travel with my child? Or how can I talk about things like safety and security and personal growth and, the expansion of their mindset and compassion for others in the world. So all these different elements. And that is what has inspired me to create the Travel Coach Network, was because when I decided to become a travel coach, I knew that I had a lot of people coming to me for a wide variety of travel related questions. And I could answer X amount of questions based on my personal experiences and knowledge over 10 years of traveling the globe. And then I would get people who came to me and asked me very specific questions. Maybe they were a woman of color and they had a question about traveling in a way that made them feel safe. Or maybe they were a couple who were traveling together, or a mom traveling with her kids, or someone who was traveling after retirement. I didn't have those specific answers to give them because I couldn't relate to that. But I knew that throughout my worldly travels, I had met so many other travelers who could have those answers for them. Maybe they were bloggers already, or they already were giving information to people, or they just love to share their stories. So I wanted to be able to create a place to kind of connect those two, to connect that world of travelers with this knowledge, wide-ranging knowledge, with the people who had these questions, and create that bridge. And that's why I created the Travel Coach Network. I started my business just under 2 years ago, and I've definitely seen the change in the amount of interest or people getting involved into travel coaching. I just actually shared today, there was an article by Forbes a few months back that said that travel coaches are the hottest new trend. And so there's a lot of buzz through the media stirring about. Some of it are from me in different publications, getting the word out about travel coaching. I was not in that Forbes one, so that was really an exciting thing to see that Forbes picked up on it and wrote about it, however it inspired them. But since when I first started my business, I had a lot of people just saying, oh, it's just a travel agent you mean. Like, oh, did you just need a travel agent, not a travel coach? So from that time to now, fast forward about 2 years, I see other people with their labels of travel coaches on their Instagram, or not only just people in my travel coach program, but in general. So it's a great thing to see the transformation, people realizing that travel is more than just someone taking over your entire itinerary and bookings and doing it for you. People want to be more involved, and people identify or realize that travel is a tool to transform you, or to improve your life, or to benefit you in some way.
That was also kind of a new aspect of travel for me as well. I guess it was something I'd never really considered, because anytime, I'd say like 90% of the traveling that I've ever done in my life has been for work. And I've only taken a few like personal trips just for me. And again, only one international trip, and that was like a big deal for me. But hearing about the wellness aspect and how to get the most out of your travel experiences, that was just that was something that I had never even considered, I guess, which is really weird to say, because like you were saying, it's kind of, you're helping people kind of realize why they're traveling. And that was like, I was like, I'm traveling because I want to, have experiences and get out there. And I never really considered the wellness side of it, or kind of the, the mental health side of travel, until I went to Scotland. And it was one of the most relaxing experiences I'd ever had in my life. And I was like, oh, maybe this is why people travel. Like, it was, and then attending that Women Thrive through Travel event, and again, hearing everyone's experiences, I was like, well, there's way more to traveling and getting out there and trying new things than I had really kind of, I think, processed fully. And so it's really been awesome being able to kind of dive into the Travel Coach Network and just hear more about the benefits of travel, like across, the spectrum, through wellness and health.
Yeah, definitely something that people are picking up a lot more, and realizing that it is possible to have a lifestyle of travel that is on their own terms and their own budget, and that they can really utilize their love of travel and how travel really impacts them in a much deeper way, and incorporate that into their daily life, their work life, their personal life, their home life, like their relationships with their children, with their spouses, their partners, friends, and just solo adventures too, and just really healing yourself and building upon your own strengths and learning a lot about yourself, because that's really what ignited my journey in the first place, was really figuring out, what did I want out of life, and who was I as a person, and who did I want to be at the age of 22 when I began my travels. And I definitely did not foresee that travel would take me to where I am today with my business. But I'm also not surprised, because I graduated with a degree in hospitality and tourism management. therefore I could have easily graduated and worked for any hotel or travel related business that I wanted to. But at the age of 22, I did not feel like conforming to the corporate world or conforming to society's expectations of now you graduated, now you must do X, Y, and Z. And it just never fit my personality to do that. And I hadn't traveled at all to the extent that I dreamed of doing. So I figured that it's my time to take that leap and to go out and see what I can learn about myself and about the world and where it would lead me to. And I fell in love with travel, and I ended up traveling on and off for over 10 years, over 84 countries. And by the time I was 30 is when I decided to sit down and figure out my own business, because I hadn't found anything that really resonated with me. I had learned throughout the years what other people were doing. I knew that there were things like blogging and travel agents, and then the social media world came about, and there were influencers, but none of that really settled with me. I wanted something more, and I said my travel experiences are more meaningful than this. So I knew that if I wanted to find what I wanted, I'd have to create it. I couldn't find what I wanted, so I had to create it myself. So that's kind of where I just sat down and said, let's start figuring out what this means. And I actually didn't come across anything in the travel coaching industry, but I did come across the coaching industry. I came across the life coaches, health coach, all the other coaches that existed. And to me, I said, well, none of those really suit me because I'm not interested in being any of those, but I would love to be something in the travel space. I'll be a travel coach. And so when I started my business as a travel coach, I assumed it existed, even though I didn't really Google it beforehand. And I started getting messages from different people online asking, hey, that sounds kind of interesting. Like, what is it? And I was like, well, then it dawned on me that, well, I didn't actually go to Google and Google travel coaching before I registered my travel coaching business. And I went to Google and I noticed that there wasn't very much at all on it. And there wasn't anyone for me to turn to say, how can you help me start a travel coaching business or anything like it? And instead of being scared and running the opposite direction, I decided to kind of take reins on it. And that's how I started the Travel Coach Network and the Travel Coach Program.
I find your story so inspirational because at 22, you were literally like, nah, like the corporate game, not for me, and kind of paved your own way. And now you have this amazing network of like-minded people, and you've also found a way to incorporate your passion, which is traveling. Like you said, you've been traveling for 10 years and you've gone to, 82?
84, yeah.
Four countries, which blows my mind. I'm like, what? people can travel that much? And so I just find it so inspiring because you've found, I feel like, a very good marriage of your passion and a way to help people. And that's something that I can definitely like appreciate and hope to do in my own creative pursuits in some way. So that was one of the reasons why it was like, I must talk to you because I think your story will also resonate with a lot of people that listen to the podcast and want to get out and travel more and have more of those experiences that maybe they've felt like they can't have, like something's holding them back. And I think you're kind of proof that like if you are passionate about something and you want to try something, you can put yourself out there. And I mean, look where you are 10 years later. Like you have a business, you are inspiring other people to get out there and travel more. I know you've personally inspired me. Like I left that one single event and was like, I must travel now. I must learn everything from these people, and how can I incorporate this into my life more and also help others through, travel questions that they have as well. So I don't know. I just got to give you kudos for like taking the reins and like going forth and doing what you're passionate about. I think that's awesome. And I think a lot of people, want to be able to do that in their lives as well.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of what we all kind of search for in life, is to find something that we're really passionate about, that we can wake up and do every day, that's going to make an impact in some way. So whether it makes an impact on the lives of others or the impact on the world in some way, or whatever it is that you're passionate about that you want to make an impact on, it could be the lives of animals, anything. So it's just really, I think it's just something that we're all searching for. And I think that that's what I wanted to do. And it took me quite some time to figure that out, but it makes me so excited now to have what I do have, what I've created with the Travel Coach Network and my Travel Coach program, because I wanted to streamline and bring ease to that process to others who love travel, who want something similar, in the sense that not that they want the same as my business, but that they want the same to be able to wake up doing what they love every day, using what they're passionate about, what's unique to them. And that's one thing that kind of why I didn't go down the other routes of travel jobs throughout my years of traveling. Like, even though I had a blog, I did it for fun, to share with friends and family, and I just kind of took a look at like the analytics to see like what people were interested in reading, and actually ended up turning one of my most popular blog posts into my published book, Travel and Mindset Guide. But I didn't want to be like a professional blogger or spend that much time doing that, and because I didn't want to have to alter my voice to get paid to, sell my writing, and I didn't want to do bookings and itineraries. Never interested me. I didn't want to be a travel agent, and I just kept saying, I know there's something more. Like, these just can't be the only options that exist when it comes to traveling, and we all have such different experiences and perspectives and beliefs when it comes to travel. And I just wanted to be able to create something that really aligned with everything with myself. And so being able to create a platform and programs and outlets for others to be able to kind of follow that path and make it a lot easier to them with all of the noise that's out there on how to start a business. So all the details in between, I wanted to kind of bring that all in one spot, because it's exactly what I wish I had from the beginning. But I'm glad that I didn't, because I was able to now create this, and it inspired me to do so. So it's just really exciting to be able to hold events like that and just inspire and bring other amazing entrepreneurs, whether they're in the travel industry, the wellness industry, everyone who are speakers at my event, people who are in my program and my network, and put them in front of others and bring opportunities to them, whether it's media or speaking. It just really makes me so happy to see my clients really excel. And actually this morning I had 2 messages that I woke up to from 2 different members of my travel coach program, and one booked a client, and then one actually got offered to be a travel coach for an agency that just booked her to Paris. She booked to Paris, and they are pitched to her to be their travel coach for their agency.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so they're both members of founding members of my program. So it was just really exciting to see that, and it just makes my heart sing. So I'm like, yeah.
I'm like full of the feel good vibes. I'm like, yay.
They're following their heart. They work so hard, and it takes action. A lot of times people want something, but they don't want to do anything for it. And that's just not how life works. And so you spend time with the right people, investing in yourself and in your business, putting in the work, putting in the time, and putting things to action, and opening yourself up, and things like pitching yourself or asking for opportunities or asking for help always opens doors to some way that, some sort of benefits are going to come to your opportunities or guidance or whatnot. I know you and I were chatting about that earlier.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's they always say, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So definitely putting yourself out there has its rewards. You might not always be successful, but you never know who's kind of watching or keeping track, and what opportunities might come your way. So yeah, I couldn't agree more. I do want to touch on a little bit of the wellness side of the Travel Coach Network, because that's something I personally am interested in. I'm a very nervous traveler. I have a lot of anxiety around travel, and it comes from, I'm a very process-based person. So, I need to know like where I'm going, what time I'm going, I'm very like a good itinerary, I guess you could say. And so was the wellness aspect of travel kind of something that you were always interested in, or had kind of always intended to incorporate into your business, or did it just kind of naturally kind of work its way into kind of the foundation of the Travel Coach Network?
Yeah, well, it was always kind of ingrained in there, because I too struggle with really high anxiety, despite how much I travel. And anxiety is very broad. It affects everyone so differently. So one thing that I always talk to people about who, as a travel coach who did deal with anxiety, is just really getting to the core of like, how can you cope with it? What kind of things do you do? So for instance, things that I did to manage and cope with my anxiety when I traveled were, being by water is very calming to me. And there's a lot of scientific studies that show why water and the beach and bodies of water are very relaxing and calming, or the salty sea air when you breathe it in, and all the benefits and effects that it has on you. And so I was always drawn to water, spent time at lake journaling or doing photography or whatever it was, were ways for me to relax while traveling and to cope with my anxiety without letting it hinder me from living a life that I really wanted to have. So as a travel coach, those are different things that they could talk about depending on what the client's needs are and what the interests and expertise of the travel coach is. So of course, travel coaches are not any medical experts by any means, just like any coach isn't, but that is something that they can help people cope with. Another thing that I talk a lot about when it comes to travel and wellness is really identifying what could be hindering you or being an obstacle that might be holding people back from traveling. And it could be like a disability, or maybe it could be something physical. It could be an illness, it could be a disease, something that people often feel like, I can't travel because I have this, or some sort of condition. And being able to find people who connect with you or relate to you or understand you, who are travel experts, really can help you boost your confidence levels when it comes to, okay, how can we manage and go about this so that you can live a life that is rewarding and fulfilling to you when it comes to travel. I had a guest contributor on my Travel Coach Network blog one time who wrote about traveling in a wheelchair. And when you would think like that is a huge hindrance, that someone in a wheelchair might say, I could just never travel again. But they were so empowering in talking about how they were able to travel in a wheelchair, the different things they got to do, the mindset aspect of it. So the possibilities really are endless when it comes to the wellness industry and travel. And it really is just very specific for the person. I tend to I focus as a travel coach in the business travel well-being aspect. I spent quite some time doing a lot of research on a lot of proven studies that are out there. There's decades of studies out there that show the mental health, physical health, and physiological health benefits that travel has on people. And being able to find this research really validated my beliefs in how powerful travel was. And then I stumbled upon the business travel world and how detrimental it could be to people's well-being, how they weren't utilizing their travel experiences in a way that was beneficial to them, and instead burning them out. And obviously business travel is very important for a lot of businesses. And without going too deep into business travel, that's just my area of like what I'm passionate about too. It just shows that wellness and travel can be applied to so many different fields and areas and different types of people in their lives and their careers. So it's really just figuring out as a travel coach and as a client, like what it is that you're looking for, get out of travel, like what's hindering you, what obstacles are you having, and what are those mindset blocks that you have, and how can you work around them? How can you deal with them and cope with them so that you can still have the travel adventures that really you want and you need and that benefit you in so many different ways, and all backed up by what studies have proven.
If you're like me and you're just getting started with podcasting, it can be scary and overwhelming. That's why Anchor is such a great choice. It's one of the easiest ways to make a podcast, and best of all, it's free. It also has great creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or your computer. Another great feature of Anchor is that they'll distribute your podcast for you. Your listeners will be able to access your podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and many others. You can also make money from your podcast using Anchor, and that's with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place, and it's easy to use. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started today.
When you did a lot of your trips, did you go solo, or do you have a tendency to do solo trips, or did you go in group trips?
Yeah, my entire 10 years of traveling to 84 countries was by myself. And there were times where my mom came to visit me, or her and her friends came to visit, but that would be a short amount of time, a couple weeks maybe, and then I would go on. They go back home, and then I go on my way. So all my trips were solo, and going to 84 countries is not highly recommendable just because it's a bit extreme, and I know that solo travel isn't for everyone. But like you said, being able to branch outside of your typical comfort zone and box, and being able to prove yourself that you're able to do something different and challenge yourself, is something that why a lot of people do go on solo travel trips, especially women traveling solo, and what that can do for them and what they can learn from it and how they can apply what they do learn and experience to their life back at home or their career options or whatnot.
Yeah, I could talk about solo travel for probably a good little bit of time. So I did want to also ask about, so you mentioned that you did have, I think you have 2 books out now, right?
Just one book.
Just one book.
Yeah. Hey, You Just Go.
The Travel Mindset Guide, is that right?
Yeah, so it's called Hey, You Just Go. It's a travel and mindset book.
Hey, You Just Go. So you have the book, you have an amazing amount of information on your website, thetravelcoachnetwork.com.
Yeah.
I have literally spent hours on there just looking around and soaking up as much information as I can. A lot of the information that you have on your website includes information on the benefits of travel, which we've touched on a little bit today, how you can thrive through travel. And then also you have a lot of information on how people can become a travel coach, what travel coaches do. And you're also, as we're recording this, you're working on a lot of really great opportunities, including workshops and a variety of membership groups. Can you tell us a little bit more about some of the resources that you have on your website and that you offer, and then also how people can get involved in becoming a travel coach, or how people, if they're interested in learning more, kind of where they can go to find that information?
Yeah, absolutely. On my website, I put so a lot of those studies that I was telling you about the benefits of travel, whether it's for mental health, physical health, experiences, the benefits of experiences, for business travel, for the corporate world. A lot of the research that I found, I collected and put onto my website. So it's kind of one spot that they have to go to kind of find to get inspiration and information. And then in addition to that, for those who want to become a travel coach, I created the Travel Coach Program, which is an all-encompass program that has monthly trainings, and it's a 9-module program, recorded and written. And one of my favorite things about it is that the members of my Travel Coach Program are incredible women and men who are from all around the world, and we gather in my private Facebook group and in our monthly trainings and in our module discussions. And I provide them with so many important resources and helpful tools to be able to really identify what it is that they can be an expert in when it comes to travel and travel coaching, and how to work with their clients and how to provide, that one-on-one experience. But also upon that, I also talk to them of how they can build a business, all those things that I had questions from the beginning on, what platforms to use and how to show up on social media and the software, the technology side of things, how to create a revenue stream. Do I want passive income? What kind of revenue stream do I want? Where does my interest lie? Do I want to do group coaching or masterminds or programs or courses, whatever it might be? I put that all into my program because I wanted, like I said, to bring ease to those who want to become travel coaches so they can join my Travel Coach program. And then this month I'm launching the Travel Coach Network membership, which is something that's been in the back of my head since I first started my business. And I have 2 options for that. And an exciting thing is that anyone who does join the Travel Coach program automatically gets 6 months membership of my Travel Coach economy class membership, which is included. They get my Travel Entrepreneur Fast Track course that I sell separately. So that's included, plus a lot of resources and monthly trainings. And then there's also an option for those who want a little bit more in-depth trainings and more involvement and a lot more perks to being a Travel Coach Network member, is the option to be in the first class membership. And so on my website, they can check out both options, what comes in both of them. So it's really exciting to be able to create these opportunities for people who are interested in becoming travel coaches or even just starting their travel coaching business. So the Travel Coach Network isn't only for travel coaches, it's for anyone who wants to have a thriving travel related business in some way, and whatever that looks like to them. And being able to work with me one-on-one is really important. So I like to offer that to my program members as well with the private coaching sessions. And then in the membership, they get my monthly trainings. So just being able to help people in any way possible, because I know that's what I was looking for, and helping them in a way that we're both so passionate about the travel coaching industry and helping people through our love of travel.
Yeah, I absolutely love everything about the Travel Coach Network. I love everything it stands for, and I really think, again, we kind of said, but it's very empowering, and there was something about online with like all of these women who have done amazing things and gone to amazing places and have all these great experiences to share. Like there is something very empowering and inspiring about it, and that was really, I think, the thing that like stuck with me the most from that and made me want to dive in more and learn more about it. And, I'm like, shit, I might need a travel coach at some point. Like I think it's just, it's a really unique, wonderful idea. And I'm excited to kind of see where it goes. I feel like we're in COVID right now, but given the state of the world, and then also, like you said, Forbes just had an article related to travel coaching. I think, great things are going to be kind of coming up for folks in the travel coaching world. So I'm very excited to kind of see where everything goes. And then, of course, people that are interested in getting travel coaches, they can also go to your website and find information about how to find a travel coach as well.
Yeah, so that's actually coming soon. So anyone can just contact me, and I can put them in contact with my travel coaches. But soon on this site, which is an extension of the membership in my travel coach program, is that on my website, people will be able to find travel coaches that suit their area of interest. So it could be like parents looking to travel or solo female travelers, kind of put into categories, so you can kind of make it easier to figure out like who might be related to me or I could best relate to. So I'm really excited about that. I'm glad that you brought that up there.
It's like a travel matchmaker. I love it. And of course, I will be putting all of the Travel Coach Network and links to their sites and Instagram in the description of the episode below. So if you are interested in learning more about the Travel Coach Network, you can definitely find the Travel Coach Network on social media, which we'll talk about here a little more in depth in a few minutes. And definitely highly recommend, if you're interested in traveling or if you have questions about, maybe the benefits of travel or how you should be traveling, or again, if you're interested in becoming a travel coach, check out the website. There's a ton of information there. Before we touch on our last question, I have a couple of kind of just fun questions. So what is your favorite thing about traveling?
My favorite thing about traveling is most likely, honestly, just seeing the beautiful places in this world. I'm an artist. I do paintings, I do drawing. And so I've always had kind of this photographic memory. So whenever I see a beautiful landscape somewhere in this world, it's just so impressionable on me, because it's just like, I can't believe like some place like this exists. And it's such a wide range of places, whether it could be parts of the ocean, it could be in the mountains, it could be a reflection on a lake, whatever it might be, even just colorful towns. I like old colonial towns. So being able to see how diverse this world is when it comes to the topography and the landscapes and the colors and Mother Nature, that's one of my most favorite parts about traveling.
I love that. Because we do like to talk about kind of trying new things and being bold and being brave on this podcast, what would you say is the most adventurous activity or trip that you've ever been on?
I would definitely say last January I did a 6-day, 5-night trek from Cusco to Machu Picchu and back. in Peru. So it was definitely the most strenuous physical activity I've ever done. It was very grueling, a lot of climb. And I like to hike. I climb things. I'm a hiker. But being in a high altitude and going for so many hours every day, literally climbing uphill, it was rough. And I used to have athletic asthma when I was in high school playing sports, and I haven't had to deal with that in a long time. And I could definitely feel it when I was climbing those mountains. So that was one of and it got kind of dangerous in some parts where you had to climb over certain waterfalls or certain cliff areas. Not the safest, and it was freezing at night. I mean, I'm used to all these different conditions. When you put them all in just 6 days, like, it's quite a lot. So that was probably one of the craziest, most grueling things that I did. But I also didn't get to do this, but I signed up to go great white diving, cage diving with the great whites in South Africa. But I paid for it. I signed up for it. I paid for it. But then the day it was supposed to happen, a storm came in and they canceled it, or they tried to reschedule it. But I was actually flying out the next day to the Philippines. So maybe it was like a good sign that I didn't go, but I will one day.
Man,
I'm very scared of sharks though, but I just feel like I should do that.
I was super jealous that you got to do Machu Picchu. That is, oh my gosh. Yeah, that would be amazing. I feel like I'd have to train for like months ahead of time to get.
I don't even know if it matters because it can be rough.
I've heard stories that it's pretty grueling, like you said. So
I mean, you can do Machu Picchu for just the day. That's easier, and you can take a bus up there. So it's not, you can do that.
That might be more my speed. but also to say that you hiked up to Machu Picchu, like, that is an insane accomplishment. That's so cool. So swimming with sharks. Yeah, I've talked about anyone who's listened to the podcast knows my fear of the ocean well. I don't know. I often say I don't know what's better, to be able to see, like, through clear water, to see what is lurking below you, or to be in murky water where you can't see anything.
Yeah.
But I feel like doing, like a cage dive would make that fear worse.
But it's a controlled environment. You're in a cage.
It is. So
I mean, you can't know what the animals are going to do, but most likely you'll be okay.
Maybe one day. My heartbeat went when you're talking about sharks. I'm like, no, get out of the water.
Yeah, I've been swimming with sharks. I've been around tons of sharks in the ocean, just not great white sharks.
No.
But I am terrified of sharks. But usually the bottom dwellers, like the bottom dwelling sharks, don't really do too much, or stuff. I swim with stingrays.
That's terrifying to me. Maybe one day I'll work up to it. My goal is to just go snorkeling first in the ocean, which I've never done, and then maybe I'll work up to it from there. So before we wrap up, what is one thing that you've always wanted to do that you haven't been able to do yet, and what's holding you back? So it can be anything from, travel related to personal growth or business growth, learning a new skill, anything like that, that you've kind of had on your bucket list and you just haven't been able to check the box yet.
Yeah, so I'll give you 2 of them, one for business and one personal. So my business one is, just like my virtual Women Thrive Through Travel, I'm actually holding a Women Thrive Through Travel in-person mastermind event, more condensed. It's not over 100 people, a lot more condensed mastermind. And I'm going to either hold it in Spain or Portugal, but I have not set the dates yet. I have some of my members who have the tickets ready and waiting, but the thing that's holding us back is COVID. So just kind of waiting to see when borders are loosening up for American passport holders to be able to travel again. And that's okay. So it's going to happen. And I'm so excited for when it does. It's going to be such an amazing. So if you can imagine the virtual event that I had, Mastermind, just being able to really condense that into these awesome women. And a lot of those speakers are the ones who are going to be at the event, being able to just get more in depth on business and relationships and networking and action plans and everything. So that is my business one. So I'm so excited. So that's going to be taking place in 2021, most likely. But if not late or much later this year. And then the personal one is actually I bought a guitar a few months ago, and I want to learn how to play guitar, and I have not touched it yet because I've been super swamped with work, but it's on my bucket list to be able to learn how to play the guitar.
I love that.
I can't guarantee anything. I'm not very musical, but I want to try.
Those are great bucket list activities. So in closing, I want to thank you so much for joining me. I thoroughly enjoyed this conversation. Where can people find you on social media? Your website again is travelcoachnetwork.com. But yeah, where can folks find you on the socials?
Yeah, so on Facebook and Instagram, I have two. So I am Sahara Rose, the travel coach, as well as the Travel Coach Network. So if you look up either one of those on either Facebook or Instagram, you'll be able to find me. But the easiest way is just being able to go to the travelcoachnetwork.com. My social links are on there, my email contacts on there, and all my fun things going on are on there too. So I thank you so much for having me on your podcast. It was so fun chatting with you and sharing about travel coaching, and I'm so glad you enjoyed my Women's Directed Travel Mastermind events and that we connected through it. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you again so much for joining me today.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. I had a great time.
And for all the listeners, go out there, try something new, and have some fun. Bye.
Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode. Be sure to check out the Fun with Friends podcast on social media. We are on Instagram at Fun with Friends Podcast. You can also find us on Twitter at FunFriendsPod1. You can also reach me by email at funfriendspodcast@gmail.com. And you can go to my website, cootscreations.com, for some fun little extras from the podcast. So definitely head over there and check it out. And as always, remember to get out there, try something new, and have some fun. Goodbye.